reaches whoever needs to hear it. And again, God, thank you for all of us being able to meet here. Amen.
Woo! Brandon.
Sorry, I'm so close. I didn't just hit the piano. But first thing I just want to say tonight is, thank you. First team coming clutch. First thing I just want to say tonight is welcome. I was hiding down in the basement before this, so I probably didn't meet most of you, and I'm sorry. So I just want to say welcome. We are very glad you're here tonight. As Mike said, the thing that we want you to leave knowing for sure is that we love you and that God loves you. So if you walk away with nothing else tonight, just remember that, please. But tonight we get to tackle our second topic in our Becoming series. And tonight we're going to talk about becoming unhurried. Mike did a great job last week of kicking off our series, of really setting the tone, talking about the idea for the series that we are all becoming something. We're all in process, we're a loading bar, we're continuous rough drafts. And the good news is that we get a say into where we are becoming. And here at CCBT, we have a desire, both for this series and in general, that each of us would be becoming more like Jesus. Starting tonight with becoming unhurried. So in this process of becoming unhurried, I think the first thing we need to ask is the question, what is hurry? And I don't say that like you don't know what the word hurry means. I say that because the word hurry has become grouped in with, and is often replaced by, a much more common word, busy. I couldn't begin to count the number of times in just the last week that I myself, or someone else has told me, I'm good, I'm just busy. For some of us, it's basically become some kind of catchphrase or motto. It's all we know to respond with when someone asks us how we are. Occasionally, you will get the I'm good just in a hurry, but that's usually because they're late and they're running out the door. I think it's safe to say that most of us would be quicker to say we're busy, not hurried. So why isn't the topic tonight becoming unbusy? Well, first of all, that sounds terrible. That is not a good title, and you gotta have a good title. But it's mostly because busy and hurry are two very different things. So let's start with busy. Busy is defined as having a great deal to do, occupied with, or concentrating on a particular activity. And honestly, when you phrase it like that, busy doesn't sound so bad. You know, yes, maybe tiring, it's a lot, but not inherently bad. And we could take it even a step further. Where does the word busy come from? What words were used to form busy? Well, some of those words lend themselves to the idea of to attend to, being diligent of, or keeping engaged with. And now, busy is starting to sound actually pretty good. Like these are things we would strive for in our life. When we think of busy like that, it might even be a good thing. I don't know if I go that far. But now let's look at hurry. Hurry is defined as to move with haste, to be rushed, to go too quickly. Okay, definitely not as good as busy, but not terrible, right? What about the origin of hurry, though? Where does that come from? Well, that connects it to ideas of causing a commotion, creating agitation, making war with, or laying waste to something. Busy's starting to sound pretty good. Hurry kind of sucks. But I think often when we look at our lives, yes, we may be busy, but that feeling in the pit of our stomach that we want to get rid of, that conflict within our hearts and our minds, the restlessness we all live with, the baseline anxiety, that's actually hurry, not busy. So I want to say this, it's okay to have a busy life. It is not okay to have a hurried soul. Think about it. By these definitions, Jesus was a busy man. He had and did a great deal. He was often focused on his particular task at the time. He was attentive to people, diligent in his work, engaged in those around him. But we never see him in a hurry. He never moves with haste. He's never rushed. He never goes too quickly. He definitely didn't wage war, nor laid waste as far as I know. He may have agitated a few people, but that was mostly the religious. That's on them, not him. But is hurry really that bad? So I found some quotes from some people much smarter than I. This is what they had to say. A guy named Dallas Willard, philosopher and Christian writer, had this to say. Hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Then a psychiatrist named Carl Jung, who was the first to coin the terms introvert and extrovert. Thank you to him. 40% of us who are introverts in this room really appreciate that he finally gave us a title for why we want to go hide in a corner sometimes. So shout out to him. He said this, hurry is not of the devil, hurry is the devil. And when someone calls something the devil, it's pretty bad. So we polled some smart people, and I told you what I think, but what does Jesus have to say about hurry? Well, honestly, nothing. In specific words, the word hurry and even busy are not found in any of the Gospels. Not once. When it comes to being unhurried, there's no specific teaching or one-liner. The teachings that come from Jesus on this, we're meant to pick up on the way that he does things, the pace that he's going, what he does in his life, how he lives his life, and we're meant to learn from that. But even while Jesus never taught directly on being unhurried, he did tell us a few times what hurry is incompatible with. In the verse Matthew 22, 36 through 40, Jesus is asked a question. It says, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus gives his famous response of, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." Jesus lays it out right there. Love is the most important thing. Well, later in the New Testament, Paul, one of Jesus' many followers, smart guy as far as many would be considered, wrote a whole section on love. 1 Corinthians 13, pretty famous for it. And one of the lines is this: love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. What does this tell us? If love is patient and hurry is impatient, then hurry is incompatible with love. Hurry and love, Jesus' greatest commandment, are incompatible. Love is time-consuming. You cannot love someone as you run past them on your way to the next activity. You cannot love someone if you're constantly checking the clock or wondering what's next. Love walks. Love does not run. Love is never in a hurry. But what if you're not sure? You don't know if you're a hurried person. You don't know if you have that underlying hurriness in your life. How do you know if you're in a hurry? Well, there's a pretty easy way to check, because I didn't know this until I started getting ready for tonight, but there's literally a sickness called hurry sickness. This is going to be great. It's going to be fun. Here's some of the signs, and I promise none of these are directed at anyone specific, but some of y'all are going to feel called out. So buckle up. Here are the signs, the actual definition of hurry sickness. Rushing through simple tasks, regardless of how much time you have. Becoming irritable or getting upset whenever there's a slight delay in your schedule. Interrupting or talking over other people. You got real quiet on that one. Constantly running through your to-do list in your head over and over again. Sorry. We're going to get going. I see you back there, Haley. I like this one. Treating everything like a race or competition.
Dang it!
We got more. Always feeling behind on your schedule even when you aren't. I got two more. forgetting the original task.
Amen.
And finally, having a constant underlying sense of urgency. So, everyone just go ahead, tally it up. Tally it up. How many you got? Yeah? But, I can guess, by the murmurs in the room, by the looks that I'm getting right now, the daggers from the eyes, that at least a few of you identify with this list. At least a few of you feel these, most likely on a daily basis. You're probably living with some level of hurry sickness in your life. Furthermore, because it gets more fun, it can cause physical symptoms, headaches, fatigue, and a weakened immune system. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if college student doesn't have at least one of those. I had all three back in college myself. Yeah. So we're all, it seems like, maybe most of us, I would say, suffering from some kind of hurry-related symptoms. But what causes the hurry in our lives? What is the primary cause of hurry? The primary cause of hurry, in my opinion, is a lack of trust. Now, okay, before I elaborate on this statement, I want to say two things that I want to stress. First is a reminder that busy and hurry are two very different things. Life gets busy. Life gets hard, and I am not trying to say that the stress and anxiety in your life will be cured by more trust. Do not hear me saying that, because I'm not. Nor am I claiming that a lack of trust is the only cause of hurry. Poor time management, lack of preparation, and so many other outside factors also cause a base level of hurry. What I'm saying is, most of our hurry is probably caused by a lack of trust. We're talking about a disordered heart, not a disordered schedule. So when I say a lack of trust, I'm talking about a lack of trust in yourself, a lack of trust in those around you, or a lack of trust in God. And I'll be honest, I felt all of these over the last week. It has been a busy, crazy time here at CCBT. We started 2 Wednesdays ago with all of our Welcome Week events. And I'll be honest, as I said earlier, as the introvert in the room, well, one of many, it was quite overwhelming. There were so many events where all I wanted to do was go hide in the corner room of the basement and just have a sit. Some deep breathing, maybe a nice chug of water, take a little nap, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. And I know I'm not the only one in the room because I had some great conversations with some of those other people who feel the same way. But in those moments, I had time to think, because I did hide very often, actually. Who was I not trusting in those situations? First of all, I was putting too much pressure on myself. I thought I had to be the only one in the room to talk to every single one of you. And as I look around the room, there's faces I don't know, so I did not accomplish that goal. But I was trying to put that all on myself. In that case, I was putting too much trust in myself. Maybe. But secondly, I was lacking trust in those around me. See, we have 2 other staff members, Mike and Morgan, who do a great job at what they do. We have a group of leaders here, of amazing people who could do exactly what we do. We're not really even needed here. I don't know why they keep us, but but I was lacking trust in those people in those moments. Because I know in my heart of hearts that they had this covered, but I couldn't trust them to do it. And at the same time, I was lacking trust in God, thinking that I had to reach out to them myself that night, or God wasn't going to work in your lives. That's not true. God got that. He's got you. He was going to find you one way or the other. And it did not depend on me. So I just challenge you to think about that next time. In your moments of hurriedness, as you run to your next thing, as you stress about that next assignment, as you ignore somebody you don't love them as well as you may, who or what are you not trusting in that moment? But now we get to the part of the evening where we get to maybe fight back a little bit. How do we start to fight the hurry in our lives? Well, as I said, there's no teaching on this, but we can look to the example of Jesus. In Matthew 11, 28 through 30, Jesus has this to say, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." This is an invitation for the tired, the burned out, the worn out, the stressed out, the busy, and the hurried. Without even saying the words busy or hurry, Jesus is inviting us to an unhurried life. Another smart guy, Frederick Bruner, had this to say about this passage, because as we read through that, there may have been a word that stood out to you, yoke. What the heck is he talking about there? You probably know what a yoke is, but why is he bringing it up in context to rest? He has this to say, "A yoke is a work instrument. Thus, when Jesus offers a yoke, he offers what we might think tired workers need least. They need a mattress or a vacation, not a yoke. But Jesus realizes the most restful gift that he can give the tired is a new way to carry life, a fresh way to bear responsibilities. Realism sees that life is a succession of burdens. We cannot get away from them. Instead of offering an escape, Jesus offers equipment. Jesus means that obedience to his Sermon on the Mount, his yoke, his teaching, his reading of the Bible, will develop us in a balance and a way of carrying life that will give us more than rest. It will give us a way to live. So Jesus is offering us a way to live, a yoke to carry life with, to walk in step with him. What Jesus is saying is that if you want to be like me, if you want to have the life that I have, you need to live as I live. If you want to live a life like Jesus, you have to adopt the lifestyle of Jesus. That is true for being unhurried, and it'll probably be true for every other topic we talk about in this series. So we know hurry is bad for us. It's literally making most of us sick. We understand where it comes from most of the time, and that we probably need to get rid of it. And all that's left is to look closer at the life of Jesus and see what practices that we may be able to adopt. So, I want to spend the rest of our time tonight just going through a few possible practices, things we can adopt from the life of Jesus to become unhurried. These are just a few things that I see when I read through the life of Jesus. But more than anything else, I encourage you to read. This is just me, my interpretation. But you look at the life of Jesus. How does he walk? How does he hold himself? What practices do you see in his life that you can adopt? But as I said, I'm going to go through what I seem to find the most helpful. So the first one is slowing down. When it comes to speed, Jesus only had one gear, and that was slow. He walked, never ran, everywhere he went. In fact, the one time, he even just walked in the front. People freaked out. The Bible says they were astonished and afraid. I don't know why they were afraid, but just because he was walking out front, they were freaking out. But what does this look like in our lives? To just slow down. Maybe this week, try driving the speed limit. Or just maybe hear me out, making a full stop at the stoplight. I'm calling out some of y'all from down the street here. These stop signs barely exist. But maybe try showing up early next time. 10 minutes early. No phone. No phone. Just sit there and wait. Good luck. You could try walking slowly across campus, not passing anybody. I know, it's hard. Them slow walkers, you gotta go around them. You gotta dart through the grass, you gotta get that open path, you gotta get to class. But try walking slowly. Last one on list. Try single tasking. You ever thought about that? Doing one thing at a time and nothing else? It's a strange sensation, I would say. But look this week for opportunities to slow down in your everyday life. Simple things like these, or maybe things more customized to you. Look for them. There are opportunities to just take a breath, slow down, and take your time. The next one is making spaces. And I'm going to spend the most time here because this is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do for your walk in an unhurried life with Jesus. You see, throughout the Gospels, Jesus spent a lot of time in what has many names. It goes by the lonely place, the solitary place, the quiet place, the wilderness. You can keep going with that list. But he goes here all throughout the Gospels. Here are some examples. Mark 1:35. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up and left the house and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Luke 5:16. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Even when he first started his ministry, 30 years old, so he still waited a while, not in a hurry, obviously, gets baptized, immediately goes 40 days into the wilderness. Jesus liked this place at least a little, or felt a need to go there at least. And so here's the cool part. Solitary, lonely, all that kind of stuff makes it seem like you have to go there alone, but you don't. Mark 6:30-32. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then because so many people were coming and going, they did not even have a chance to eat meat at Welcome Week. He said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. Jesus didn't always go there by himself. Sometimes he took people with him. What does this look like now? Maybe it's a personal retreat. I know that's my favorite. I make it a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then I gotta get a day away. I gotta go somewhere far, far away all by myself for at least 12 hours. A day if I can get it. Maybe, if you're on the other end of the spectrum, an extrovert, the idea of being alone kills you a little bit on the inside. Maybe it's family dinner. That table could be your solitary place, your quiet place, even if it's as loud as can be. That's what that is for you. And maybe, if you want to get real Christian with it, we can even practice Sabbath. But I also want to talk about that word a little bit, because at its base, all it means is this: to stop and delight, to rest and resist. And you don't have to start by taking the formal Sunday off. Start with an hour. Put it in your schedule, cross it out, just to stop and delight in God. Not to do, but to be. Find a space that is life-giving to you. Start there and see where it goes. My last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to these practices is simplifying. And I can't even explain how many ways you can do this in your life, your possessions, your schedule, your relationships. The list is endless. But in all of them, we can ask one question. What is the true cost of this thing that I am bringing into my life? When it comes to possessions, you have the actual purchase price of those things. But for example, a game console. You pay for it, $200 probably. But how many hours of your life is that console going to take over the next few years? An article of clothing. This is a big challenge, and I'm not putting this on any of you, but where did it come from? How many hours did it take to make it? How long are you going to keep it? How are you going to dispose of it? Are you going to donate it, or are you going to throw it away? Things to consider. What about your schedule? Yeah, it fits in that hour slot, but did you account for all the time on the outside of it? The time to drive to where you're going, the time to prep for whatever meeting or appointment that is, the time after to get ready for the next thing. Are you accounting for the true costs of everything in your life? Where can you simplify things? So, again, with this, just sit down, look at your own life. Where are things way too complicated? Where can you cut back? Where can you consider the true cost of what you're bringing into your life? Now, to begin closing this evening. I want to read Matthew 11, 28 through 30 again. But this time, we're going to read from the Message translation. Because when it comes to becoming like Jesus, I don't think I could word it any better. It goes like this. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. It's all in there. Everything we talked about. That's the goal. Keep company with Jesus. Walk with Jesus. Work with him. Learn to live freely from him. Let's pray. God, I just thank you for this opportunity that I've had tonight to just share a small bit of what's hopefully from you, your wisdom. I hope that over the next weeks, months, years, that we continue to become an unhurried people, that we can learn from Jesus' way of life, that we can continue to figure out how to slow down, how to make spaces, how to simplify, walk at your pace, in your yoke, with you. Because that's where you want us. You want us with you and step with you, learning from you. Lord, just let us be unhurried as we walk out of here tonight. In your son, I pray. Amen. I'm going to invite the worship band back up. We're going to sing another song, and then I'll turn it over to whoever's doing it.